Welcome to Block 3, Lesson 3.1, Introducing Percents. Percents, thank you. Our target for the day is that I can write percents as fractions and decimals. We've gone from fractions to decimals and from decimals to fractions. Now we're going to add a third thing in, percents. A percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. So 50% is 50 to 100, 50 out of 100. When a number is written as a percent, the symbol percent is placed after the number, as opposed to the dollar sign, which is placed before it. The percent sign is written after it. So the ratio 10 to 100 can also be written as 10%. One way to visualize a percent is to shade squares on a 10 by 10 grid. A 10 by 10 grid has 100 squares. It's like a 100 chart. So 10% means 10 out of the 100 squares are shaded. Percent can be very small or very large. No matter how small or large they are, a percent is always a number compared to 100. Even if that number is larger than 100, you can have 200%. It just is a 2 to 1 ratio instead of a less than 1 to 1 ratio. To write percents as fractions as decimals, if you are given a percent, write the value of the percent in the numerator of the fraction that's on top and 100 in the denominator. Then write the fraction in simplest form. So it's kind of like writing a decimal in the hundredths place as a fraction, only you're always going to stick 100 under it. To write a percent as a decimal, write it as a fraction and then convert the fraction to a decimal. We're going to start by writing each percent as a fraction in simplest form and as a decimal. So let's start with 25%. Remember that whatever percent you are given becomes the top number of your fraction. 100 will always be your denominator, will always be your bottom number. It really is that simple. So 25%, 25, we're going to stick it over 100, and then when we simplify it, it becomes 1/4. To write it as a decimal, we'll take 1/4 and write that as a decimal. So we'll get there in a second. 2% is 2 over 100. Which when simplified gets us 1/50. And 100 over 100 becomes 1 over 1, or just 1. When you write the percent as a fraction over 100, that is our big clue for writing it as a decimal. I read the first fraction as 25 hundredths. Now just write that with the last digit in the 25 in the 100th spot. So 25 hundredths, write that as a decimal, 25 hundredths. Same thing for 2 hundredths and for 1 whole.